thought it was the justified.
All right, it's 5 o'clock, so I'm gonna call the meeting to order.
Yeah.
Ask Ms. Daniels to do roll call, please.
Board Chair Carolyn Bradford.
Here.
Vice Chair Johnny Warren.
Here.
Board Member Daniel Case.
Here.
Board Member Jennifer Hartline.
Here.
Board Member Dr. Jane Griffin. Here. And Superintendent Josh Engel.
Here.
Mr. Warren, would you do our invitation, please?
Sure. Let's pray. And Father, Lord, we love you, and we thank you again for the privilege of being here and for each one in attendance. And Lord, this time of year, as the excitement in the air and knowing we got graduation coming up, and I pray just now, Father, for your blessing on all our graduates and safety for them. And I pray as they go forward, Father, that they'll find their niche and what they can do. And I pray tonight, Father, that every decision that's made here, we ask for your wisdom. And I pray you bless everything that takes place, get honor and glory out of it. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please stand for the pledge. Attention. Salute. Pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do I hear a motion to adopt the agenda as presented? Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes as presented for the regular scheduled board meeting for April 25th, 2022?
Make a motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Ms. Jane? Okay, all in favor? All right, next is superintendent's report.
All right. Item number 1 under superintendent report is recognition of stakeholders and character strong in Dade County Schools. And the first item I want to call your attention to is a big congratulations to the students at Dade Middle School who took a trip to Talladega over the weekend and brought home first place. They took the green powered car to race, and first event ever, and we brought home first place.
Wow.
So we got some NASCAR drivers in our team. The racers had their first race at the famous Talladega Super Speedway this past Saturday, May 21st, 2022. The team took first place in both races in the stock category, which is quite an accomplishment for a rookie team. Way to go, racers. And the team members included Brody Carter, Eddie Jarrells, Josie Daniels, Jonathan Mashburn, Claire Holmes, Katie Stone, Katie Barger, Arlene Lopez, Natalie Stewart, Summer Holden, Coach Jimmy Gallman, and all that worked together in the Talladega heat to earn the win. And I was speaking with Mr. Gallman last week over at the middle school, and I think he even had to make some last-minute changes with his driver. If I'm not mistaken, because the original driver was in a ball tournament somewhere, so he had to find someone about equal or similar size. It's all about, that's one of the main components. So they brought home first place. So that's
Our board member that drove it over to the school could have.
So congratulations to our Dade County Green Powered English Project. And I do have to say that Ms. Sheena Hill was instrumental in getting that and getting that going. And the funds from that Green Powered car came from the donation from the family that continues to donate each year towards STEM, science, technology, and engineering. The next item on our agenda is to recognize one of our students, Savannah Frazier, for an art contest. that she participated in. So at this time, I will ask Ms. Martha Baker to come forward and talk about that, and we will recognize Ms. Savannah.
Thank you, guys. I'm Martha Baker. I am the coordinator for Dade First Family Connection. One of our major focuses is prevention of child abuse and neglect. We have a huge push for that in the month of April. And the last 2 years, we've been so fortunate to partner with Dade Middle School for an art contest. And this year's winner, you'll see her artwork up here, is Savannah Frazier. You want to come up? Everybody give her a hand. Congratulations.
And also, Savannah, I would love to present you with this little Superintendent Pin of Excellence. Congratulations on your beautiful artwork. Turn around, Savannah. Oh.
I don't know where we're looking. And your artwork will be displayed at the Children's Advocacy Center, and they provide therapy to children that are
All right, the next person, or the next item under recognition of stakeholders and Character Strong is Ms. Deidre Stewart was recognized by the Georgia Department of Education for the Parent Mentor Rookie of the Year. So here's just a little bit of information about Ms. Deidre. Deidre is a wife and a wonderful mom of 3 girls. She works extensively with her parents to meet their needs. She has worked on projects for the transition to adult life and with the preschoolers as well. She made some of the initial contacts with parents transitioning from Babies Can't Wait. She has a heart for families touched by disabilities. She has held multiple parent workshops on a variety of subjects. Deidre also attended IEP meetings in her first year to offer support to families. She planned and directed the Dade games this year for the special education students. Her background is in nursing, and it has brought a new perspective to the Northwest region, and she has answered many of our questions on health matters concerning our families. The special ed director, Ms. Reyes, could not brag about her enough and added, she is a bundle of energy. Ms. Susan Reyes also stated that she did not perform as a first-year parent mentor. She has contributed to our region as well in our own county. She has joined in on several projects with several counties in the northwest corner of the state. She would make Scott Crane very proud. So congratulations, Deidre Stewart. And Deidre, I would also like to present you the Superintendent Pin.
Thank you so much.
I think we're supposed to look at the camera.
Thank you.
And the remaining points are just follow up from newsletters. This is the newsletter that went out this afternoon or this morning. Davis Chorus. The Davis Chorus has always put on a great show, but due to COVID, they've scaled back, so they had their first concert since the Christmas before COVID, and so they took it back to the 80s. So they did a very good job, and Jessica Howard and Brandy Steele have always done a remarkable job with the Davis Chorus, and they blew it out of the park, last week. Scrolling on down, we had some 5th grade students that visited Dade Middle School for their transition day, and they got to visit with some of the current middle school students there, mainly 6th graders. So you see Miss Cindy Moore and Pete Johnson pictured there, and it was a great event for the 5th grade students. The DMS 8th grade awards program It was streamed live on the NFHS network and is also available for playback. So parents and community members can access that program by clicking on, the link there. And then we also Friday, we participated, or the seniors participated in the senior walk. That's where each of the seniors, we marched through all 4 schools. So it's their final opportunity to walk through the halls that they went to elementary school in middle school. They actually started out at the high school. So we started out at high school, then we went to middle school, and then went to 2 elementary schools. And they ended the afternoon with a luncheon sponsored by the Trenton Ministry Center. There's our COVID report and the May calendar events, which is, May is quite full, but as you can see, as the days go down that list, the calendar, the amount of events start to dwindle down. And that's it. Last week's newsletter, Dade Elementary Character Spotlights. We have Miss Teresa Beagles, who was the staff member at Dade Elementary. We have Mason Draper and Caden Blevins, and they were recognized for excellence. We had students from Davis that attended Lake Winnepesaukah last week for the ST Math field trip for meeting their math goals. And Dade Elementary hosted a art fair and a book fair and an art show, and it was a great turnout. The parents get to see their kids' artwork, but also that's what gets them in the door to buy books for the book fair. So come see my artwork, and then you can buy some books. So, and then the DCHS drama presented the Addams Family. They had the final show this past Saturday. They had 2 shows this past Saturday, one at 2:30 and one at 7. It was a great turnout for the spring show. And then last week, both elementary schools celebrated their grade level field days at Davis and Dade Elementary, and it was a great turnout. The weather was pretty all week last week. And then I'll give an update on the library card here in just a minute. And then we had some athletes. We wrapped up our spring sports with some track athletes bringing home some hardware. We had Stella Henry, who brought home a state championship. We had Ian Bird, who placed, I think, 3rd in the pole vault with a 12-foot jump. We had Reagan Page that placed in pole vault, and then we had Brody Cooper placing in the hurdles. So it was great to be able to take that many students from Dade County High School. I think we took 5. Sometimes I have seen it where we've only taken 1 boy and 1 girl, or sometimes we didn't even have any that qualified, but it's a great turnout for our kids. And of course, we're still taking registration for Dade and Davis pre-K. All right, item number 2 under the superintendent's report is exemplary board standards. This update is provided for your information. I'm going to let you know where we are in the process of receiving board status or exemplary status for the FY 22 school year. Things that we still have left to complete are the governance team self-assessment, the exemplary committee assessment, the superintendent evaluation. Balanced scorecard updates will begin as soon as we start getting our test scores back, and then the completion of the application. So all that will have to be done by June the 30th. And then just to give you an update on the library card, I know that Dade County Public Library was here presenting on the digital play card. so that students could have access to digital books. We ran in the newsletter for a couple weeks, but all students were dumped into the system, and then parents that wanted to opt out could go in, complete the form, and opt out, and then they would be removed. So all of that opt-out period has ended, and the last email I saw this afternoon was we're wrapping things up, getting ready to launch that so that kids can have opportunities to participate in summer reading activities. And item number 4 under the superintendent's report, we will be hearing from several different presenters. And the first group will be our academic coaches at Davis Elementary, Dade Elementary, and Dade Middle. So at this time, I would like to ask Ms. Jessica Howard to come forward and talk to us about Davis.
Good evening, guys. I've never done this before, so I wanted to take just a second and kind of introduce myself. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
This is my 12th year at Davis. I became academic coach in January of this year, but prior to that, I taught 4th grade math for 11 years. I went to Davis as a student, so Davis has always been really near and dear to my heart, and I'm really excited to talk to you guys about some things that we've had going on since January. So one of our major focuses this year has been MTSS, which is the multi-tiered system of supports. MTSS, in short, is basically our school creating a system where we screen and assess students so that we meet all of their needs and we don't have students falling through the gaps. 3 times a year, we screen kids through assessments such as MAP, GLOSS, and our new reading curriculum, Fontes and Pinnell. MAP is a nationally normed test that's new to us this year. And it ranks our students to students across the nation. This test gives us a really good screenshot of students with their strengths and their weaknesses. GLOSS is also new this year. It is a one-on-one math interview that allows us to see how students strategizes with numbers. And then Fontes and Pinnell also gives us a one-on-one interview where we're able to see the students' accuracy and comprehension with their reading. These screeners give us a very clear picture of which students need extra support and also academic intervention. So we have 2 interventionists at Davis. One is Paige Kimball and one is Leah Smith, and they've been serving students in these areas with our screeners with programs such as Sunday, Haggerty, Fontes and Pinnell, Bridges Math, and also NZ Math. So what do we do to work towards this goal? We've done a lot of things since January. One of the first things that we did was we created flow charts for our school where it helped our teachers be able to make decisions for students, where we weren't guessing what a kid needed, but we were able to follow the steps and see this student needs to go here, this student needs to go here, so that we made sure we met every single need that they had. We also strengthened our RTI process, which is response to intervention. By making data easily accessible for teachers, we've taken all of our data and housed it into one place. So a student's reading information is all in one document. Their math information is also on one document. It's made it very nice for our teachers. They've loved that. And then we've also had meetings routinely every 6 weeks where we meet with our SST team along with parents, and we discuss the students' progress and decide what we're going to do next for students. We also implemented win time, which allows us to differentiate and accelerate and extend for students. So we had lots of different programs going on during that time. It was 2nd grade through 5th grade, and they would go to all different places in the building. We had book clubs going. We had dyslexia mind training. We had our 3D printing, broadcasting. We're still working on creating a story walk on our trail, and then our students also worked on and created a new school newspaper. So how has this impacted our students? This is Miss Bonnie. I want to talk to you about Bonnie today. So on the left is her school picture, and then on the right is her picture from the 100th day of school. So we always use an aging face app where we turn them into 100 years old, and it was just too cute for me to not include, so I thought I had to put it on there. I could talk about a lot of success stories, but Bonnie's one of our kindergarten babies who, at the beginning of the year, we identified her as needing a lot of extra interventions in reading and in math. So she began receiving those interventions through all of those screenings that we were telling you about and the new procedures and programs we put in place. She started receiving interventions in September. She came light years from September and was so proud of her progress that she wanted the world to know and started inscribing her name on everything, including her family vehicle. So this is her family's van. And she wrote her name because she was so proud of all the progress that she made. But her teacher is Miss Steele, and she had this to say about Bonnie. Bonnie now knows all of her kindergarten sight words. She's reading on grade level. She can read and write all of her numbers to 20. She can count to 100 by 1s, 5s, and 10s. She can add and subtract proficiently. And when we took that end of the year, the spring math assessment, she scored in the 84th percentile for reading and math, which exceeds the grade level target. So talking about a student that we identified as struggling in September, and then when we got to April, she's now in the 84th percentile. So we are so proud of her. So as educators, we're always reflecting on our instructional strategies. We're looking at student achievement to decide if what we're doing is working or not and making a plan. So MAP, again, was new for us this year. We spent a lot of the time at the beginning of the year trying to figure out what it meant. We were unsure if our data looked good. Did it look bad? We really didn't know because we weren't able to access other people's data from around the area. So we spent a lot of time talking to Mike Afdal, who works at Northwest Georgia RESA. And in March, I believe it was, we were able to get access to the region's MAP scores. And so this is over 100 different elementary schools. This is over 30,000 students. So the chart that's on the left shows an average of those 30,000 students, and then the chart that's on the right shows how Davis compares. So we're looking for more blue and green and less red. And we were able to meet those goals in reading and in math in every single grade level, which is a great accomplishment to our teachers. Our teachers have worked tirelessly this year to provide the best education for our students. We knew we were going to be faced with a lot of learning loss and a lot of learning gaps from effects from the pandemic. It was just the reality of where we were. This will probably be a year that goes down in history as one of the most difficult in education. I feel like every teacher that I've talked to says that. This has probably been the most difficult year we've ever had. And it makes me proud to be able to look at this data and say that our students didn't just survive, but we thrived. We're beating nationally students all over the nation, and 30,000 students that are within our region. We were able to meet or beat those scores, and that's due to the efforts of our students and our staff and our teachers. So it makes me proud to work for Davis, and thank you guys for letting me come tonight. Does anybody have questions for me?
I do.
Okay.
Can you talk a little bit more about when and what that stands for?
Yes. Okay, so when time means what I need time. So we looked at, again, all of the screeners that we had. We knew where students had deficits, but we also knew what students needed intervention or needed enrichment. So we had, I think it was 10 different groups where students that needed enrichments could go get extra things. So they worked on science experiments. They worked with the 3D printing. They made the announcements for our school. They worked on the trail to make our story walk. And then we also had lots of intervention groups going at that time where if a student needed more support in reading, they may go to a book club where they worked with a teacher. Or we used a math program called Mappers that Mike Afdal, the guy from RESA, told us about. They would go work on math interventions during that time. So it's just a what I need time. We find out what the kid needs and we send them there.
And is that school wide?
It's 2nd through 5th grade.
And how soon do you identify kids as struggling? Like, I know Bonnie was a kindergartner.
Yes.
So at what point are kids identified as needing those extra interventions?
1st through 5th graders, we screen them as soon as they come in the door in August. Kindergartners, we usually wait a little bit, usually end of August, even September, to give them a little time to just adjust being in school. But as soon as we walk in the doors, we try to start figuring it out.
Thank you. Thank you for what you do.
Jessica, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but just one quick question.
Okay.
MAP, that's measure of academic progress.
Yes.
I'll take it 3 times a year.
Yes.
And ideally, it should kind of predict how students would perform on milestones.
It predicts how they will perform on the milestones. It also can predict how they will score on the SAT and I think even ACT.
So, based on your experience at Davis, how is math matching up with it?
It lined up in math, it lined up almost perfectly. In ELA, we saw a little bit of difference, but it's because math does not assess writing. And so Milestones has that writing component in it, but it was still very, very close. So it did a good job.
Thank you.
I love all this bullying. You guys gotta be proud. And hearing all these things today that people have talked about, no wonder you guys are like the best school board ever. Hey, okay, my name is Darlene Rogers. I think most of you know that. I know I taught Daniel in 5th grade. I'm so proud of him. And I've taught most of your children and grandchildren. I'm proud of all of them too. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about the district standard, which is our teaching and learning positive outcomes, and how we're working towards that at Dade Elementary. And let's see, I gotta get. All right, Josh wanted us to kind of talk a little bit about the role of an academic coach, and because I know the CARES money is funding that. And I won't go over all of these. I'm going to let you guys read them at your leisure. I've got your little handout there. But due to learning loss over the COVID years, my role has changed a little bit. I actually work with 38 students in reading intervention because we thought that was a high priority to help those children catch up. So even though I do the roles you see here, one of my main roles is to also provide reading intervention for those students. Okay, the interventions, I'm going to talk about the reading interventions at our school. We hope someday to get our students provided with math interventionists as well, so we can do some of the math programs that Jessica mentioned. In our Tier 1 instruction for phonics, we use the Sunday System Essentials program. So we decided that what we would do for our intervention reading program was use the Sunday System Intervention program. And that is for those students who are not being successful at the Tier 1 instruction. Tier 1 is the instruction that most learners perform at. When a student moves to Tier 2 and they need some additional support for reading, that's when we pull those students and we give them extra help in reading. And the research says that in-school programs are more successful than after-school programs and summer programs. And especially if you do it the way we are doing it, what we do is we do not pull the students when it's their regular reading time. We pull them at additional times so that they get double dose. And it has been extremely successful. I'm going to share some stories with you in just a minute. The Sunday system is based on Orton Gillingham, their methods, which that is approved by the National Panel of Reading. It's also endorsed by the National Center for Learning Disabilities and the International Dyslexia Association. So it is one of the best programs that you can utilize. These are our interventionists. We have 2.5 positions with coaching and interventionists, and we are able to serve 142 students out of our 750, and that is awesome. About 15% of students need support with reading. They do not learn to read the traditional way. So we are able to provide this 15% with this program. And our interventionists are awesome. Our part-time people work well over 19 hours a week. They volunteer so that we are serving all the children who need help. And then Lindsay Gill, you see her on the right, she is our Tier 3 intervention. And when students are not successful at the Tier 2 level, they're still struggling, then we move them to 5 days a week so that they get 2 additional days. And honestly, I don't know what we would do without that. I thank the board, Mr. Engel and Miss Patty, for providing us with this opportunity to have these children serve, because it's made a huge difference, and you'll see in just a minute. Okay, this is our why, and this is why we do everything we do. And are you going to play the video? This video that Chris is about to play, it's a student who's been in the program since mid-first grade. He's now a third grader, and he is above grade level. He started off in first grade below grade level. He's reading a year above grade level in third grade, and he actually tested for gifted this year. And then you'll see a parent that talks about the program. And I mean, we get these thank you notes. I can't bring all of them, but we get thank you notes from parents all the time, telling about what a difference we've made in their children's lives.
Peyton, can you tell us your experience with the reading program that you've attended for 3 years?
It was very, very fun. It helped me with spelling a lot. And it helped me to read, and now I love to read. I read all the time, and I'm reading chapter books up to 600 pages or more. And you can also earn prizes like this little cat right here.
Prizes are big.
Hi, Bethany. Do you mind sharing your experience as a parent with the Sunday System Intervention Program?
No. My daughter has been in Sunday System since first grade. She was a struggling reader. We realized that in kindergarten. And Sunday System has not only made her a better reader, a stronger reader, and taught her phonemic skills and decoding skills, and she really remembers those because of the repetition that they do there. Her confidence is what she was really struggling with. She did not like school. School was hard. It was not fun for her. She needed confidence, and the Sunday System gave her that. She is a bright star now in her reading ability, and she just is beginning to have a very good relationship with school.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Miller.
You're welcome.
These are the kind of stories we hear over and over again, and I might cry when I talk about this, but I went to a training a couple years ago, and the speaker talked about, how sad it is, in first grade, you have a 6 or 7 year old who struggles, and they already think, I'm not good at this. School is not for me. And that's heartbreaking. And, we want to do everything we can to remedy that. And this program, the next slide you'll see, these are just some of the teacher testimonials, and if you have time later, you may read them. They're incredible. They all have some common themes, and the common themes are that, more than any other program we've ever worked with, they see the confidence in the students because they can read. It changes their entire attitude about school. It also gives them ability to feel like they are readers, that they are a vital part. And I hope you do take time to read some of the gains that our students have made in this program. We also use Fontes and Pinnell, which Mrs. Howard talked about. And Fontes and Pinnell, it generally says that a child within a school year should move 3 levels within that program. Well, all of our Sunday System students have moved 3 levels with the exception of 1, and many have moved 6 levels. And the little fella, Peyton, that you saw in the video, he's reading at a level T now, which is end of 4th grade, and he's a 3rd grader. And so it's an incredible program. And to show you how well, I'm just going to piggyback on what Jessica said. I pulled up the national report card for our country, and due to the coping learning loss, right now in America, based on last year's test score, only 35% of all 4th graders are reading at above or proficient level. And that leaves like 65% of our children who are not functioning where they should be. But if you will look at the report, the map report that I pulled there, and you look at our Dade County students, and by the way, Georgia is actually, as a whole, 2 points behind that 35%, but not Dade County. look at what we are. I'm gonna have to walk up there because I can't see good. Okay, third grade, you can see 52% of our students after the 2 years of learning loss are at grade level, and see that's compared to 35. Our fourth grade, 48%, and fifth grade, 57% are at. So I think that speaks well to our school system, our families in Dade County that care about their kids and want them to do well, and the support from our board and our teachers who are, working as hard as I've ever seen teachers work, like Jessica said. So I think that's something to be proud of. These are our math results from fall to spring, and you can see that there are 3 bars. The light gray is fall, and the darker gray, winter, and then the blue is the spring assessment. And this is overall achievement on the goals that are determined for the children back in fall. And you can see that in every grade level, we have made gains from fall to spring as far as kids meeting their goals. So that's very impressive. And then this is similar to the map that Jessica showed. And there again at Dade Elementary, we are above the RESA average. And one thing that, if you look at the chart on the right and you see the foundational skills, those are your phonics and phonemic awareness, which are the skills and standards that are taught through the Sunday system. And you can see that there's a very low percentage of students who are functioning in the red, and a very high percentage in the green and blue. So that shows that that program is very effective. And then if you'll look down at the bottom, the vocabulary acquisition, that is something that has really improved with our Fontes and Pinnell reading program, because research shows that when kids are read aloud to, that's what really increases vocabulary. Because if you just teach them words for the week, they forget them after they take the test. But when you read aloud and discuss with children, you increase. So that shows that we in Dade County have made really wise decisions on the programs that we have invested in. And then these are just next steps. This summer, we are having professional learning. We're establishing writing benchmarks. That's based on our last year milestone data. It's something we need to work on. Stephanie Montgomery from RESA is going to come and help lead us in that. And we're going to do some ELA mapping to make sure that we are prioritizing those standards that are the most important standards to teach. And then we're going to revise, since this was our first year on Fontes and Pinnell, we're going to revise our lesson plans. And then STEM camp, it starts June 3rd, and we have lots of exciting things planned for that. And we're also going to incorporate reading intervention, so students do not lose what they've gained this year. So they get to come and participate in the fun STEM activities, but then, we also, those that need help will receive some summer help. And then in July, the MTSS team is just going to look at our data and make plans, additional plans for next year. And then next year, we're going to focus on math a lot and unpack the new math standards and vertically align math vocabulary. Stephanie Montgomery is going to come next year, and we're hoping to get her to come and help teachers with writing. And then our future plans, we're hoping to be able to add some additional interventionists. That's the dream. That's the dream one day. We're currently, just because of the staffing we have, serving 1st through 5th, but we would love to serve math and kindergarten. So anyway, thank you so much for all you do and all your support. Does anybody have
I do. On the STEM camp, is that, what grade levels does that?
kindergarten through 5th. And Davis kids are invited. We've invited Davis kids to come, and we have several Davis kids who've already signed up.
So is it open whether they need like if they're identified as needing something, or it's open to all of them?
Well, we took the students we gave them the first opportunity to sign up if they, needed some additional help and support. And then, we didn't fill all the spots, so we opened it up to other students. So other students were offered the
And that
opportunity.
goes through when?
It starts June, it lasts almost the
June 6th
entire
to
month.
30th.
Yeah,
Monday-
the entire
Monday to
month of
Thursday.
June.
For the whole
Yeah.
month of June?
June 6th.
Half day from
Wow.
8:30 until 12.
How is that for leaders?
Two.
And are teachers, serving in that camp?
We have teachers and paraprofessionals who are able to our myself and Lisa Haynes, two interventionists, are working with the students who need the support in reading.
And the focus of the STEM count, other than the needs for those students, is going to be on robotics.
Mhm.
And we're hoping to even,
So great.
by the end, do some, take some kids over to the Trenton swimming pool and do some underwater swimming with some robots.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And that's exciting. The kids are all so pumped about it. I appreciate you guys letting us add the STEM position. I don't think I've seen kids as excited about anything as they are. And we are able to serve at 3rd through 5th grade in that capacity. But all our little kids, they cannot wait. They're like, when do we get to go to STEM? They love the 3D printer. It's
Great
exciting.
feed in to what, to the 3D printing and what we see is.
Oh, yeah, it's incredible. And also we were able, with the 3D printer, Miss Brittany, who is phenomenal, she made keychains for each 5th grader to give to them. So that was really special.
Just a real quick
Uh-huh.
question about the Sunday system. I mean, that's pretty amazing accomplishments. So what grade levels does that serve? Do your kids identified, and how long do they get served in that?
Well, Sunday System actually has a placement test. So what we do is we get the Haggerty phonemic awareness and phonics assessment in kindergarten, and then we also, use our MAP scores to identify students, and then the DIBELS, dynamic indicator of reading assessment, to identify those students. And we're able to serve right now 1st grade through really 4th. We do serve a few 5th graders, but I wish I would have thought to show you on that map back, let me see, I guess it's this map. This 5th grade, which you saw was like 58, I think, percent proficient. That's the grade level of the children who we started the Sunday system with in 3rd grade, back in 3rd grade. So those students,
So it's cumulative.
you can see that we're, seeing the benefits later on from that program. So it's awesome. Any other? I know you're saying where I get these earrings. What about that? Where did I get these earrings?
Where'd you get those earrings?
At Cato's. Thank you. Oh, wait, here you go.
All the elementary schools. All right, so I'm Lisa Bell. I'm the academic coach at Dade Middle. If any of you have a middle schooler, you know that middle schoolers are different critters. Definitely not elementary and definitely not high school. We are kind of in the, I have to change my little slides tonight, sorry. Oh, I want to go that far. Okay, so we're in the middle, and our picture there is a bridge, and that's on purpose. It definitely has a purpose because we are a bridge between elementary school and the high school. So where in elementary school, you're learning your foundational skills of reading and writing and math, and all of those foundations are being built during elementary school. And then when you get to high school, you're looking towards the future, towards being an adult, towards getting out and doing your thing. In the middle school, we're kind of that bridge in between the two, where you're going from that concrete thinking to more abstract, more critical thinking. And when you have kids come in and maybe they aren't they didn't do as well, maybe they're struggling with reading, maybe they're struggling with math, maybe they're struggling with behavior, maybe they're bored because they're so advanced, they're not being challenged. So when you have those kids coming in, we need to be able to figure out what the best way is to serve those kids. So for us this year, and that's been a weak spot for us, just being honest with you, in the middle school, is that we have not had a system in place to be able to really address those. The elementary school are rock stars when it comes to RTI and to addressing those student needs. Middle school, it's just different. It's just hard. So MTSS for me has been a godsend. It has been a blessing for us because it has given us that structure and that ability to be able to have a plan to not only identify kids who are struggling, but then to have a way to address those needs. And so for us, that has really been our focus this whole year, has been wrapping our brains around MTSS. We started out last year, it's like, oh, MTSS, that sounds cool, okay, awesome. And now this year, it's like we're 100% into MTSS. And the teachers are on board, they know what's going on. So everything we do is under that umbrella. So with each, so this is all the stuff that I'm involved in at the school. I do a lot of the training and just working with teachers, but I also do a lot of stuff behind the scenes. So the first aspect is learning focused schools. Obviously we started this quite a while back, but one of the things that has been frustrating for me as a coach and for our teachers is that we had 2 years, it took us about 2 years, and we were running strong, everybody had their LFS lessons, they were ready to roll, and then COVID. So we never got any data. We never got to see that it was working or not working or whatever. We never had anything concrete. And then we had 2 years with that, and then now we're back, we've had a full year, and we're just now starting to get scores in. And we're starting to see those scores, and they're looking pretty good. So we're really excited. We can't wait to see all the rest of the scores. We're just now starting to dig through them. We started going through the 8th grade scores, and they were looking really great, 5 lot 4s, which was really awesome. One teacher in particular, she is LFS. Her classroom is 100% LFS. She is standards-based, well, everybody's standards-based, but she has clear learning targets. Her classroom is very engaging. She uses critical thinking skills. I mean, she does it all. She checks all the boxes. And she had, I don't know how many scores she has, but she had one kid who had, I believe, if not a perfect score, right next to a perfect score in that algebra. So amazing, amazing, amazing. And it works. It works. So if our teachers will just, really get back in, and next year that's our goal, is to get our teachers 100% on board with LFS again, getting those lessons going and doing those clear essential questions, sticking to our learning targets, being mastery based to where you make sure the kids in your room master that learning before you move on to the next thing. All those just essentials that we were doing before, and then we had a little interruption, so now we're going to get back on track. So that's going to be a big part of my role next year, as well as just getting back, everybody's back on board with Learning Focus. This has been awesome. This has also been a huge missing piece for us, is having data. MTSS is all about being data driven. You don't just make a decision about a student based on, I have a hunch, I think, I feel, I see. It's got to be based on the numbers. It's got to be based on data. And so that has been a huge missing piece for us. So MAP has been a blessing and a half. And I just know as a teacher, if I could have had something that would have indicated to me, and at winter, like, it'll give you a projection of what your scores are probably going to be on the milestones. And let me tell you, so far they've been pretty close. I've been amazed how close they've been. So if I had that tool as a teacher in the classroom, and I could have known little Johnny is like right there, just between a 2 and a 3, and I can tell exactly where I need to bolster little Johnny to get him over, that would have been awesome. And our teachers have that now, so that is super exciting. So a big part of my job this year has been learning how to use MAP, learning how to figure out what the reports are, where to find the reports, how to interpret the reports, and then helping the teachers to know what to do with reports and how they can use it in their classroom, to be able to form groups, to be able to figure out who needs what. So our teachers are getting pretty confident, more confident with it, but it's still a work in progress. STAR assessment is something we got in February, and that is something, it's also a normed reference test. It is a progress monitoring tool. It is amazing because it gives you more granular information about what a specific student's needs are. So this would be for our kids who are the tier 2. So if you're not familiar, I'm sure you are familiar with MTSS, but it has 3 tiers. It's based on a 3-tier system. Your first tier, 85% of your kids are in that tier. Your second tier are those kids who they just, no matter what you're doing, you're not able to reach them. You're not able to meet those needs. So they would be in that second tier. And the STAR assessment is going to be for those kids. And we're going to have Miss Call is going to be our interventionist next year. She's going to be having classes for our kids that we identify as tier 2 kids. So that's a first also for us to really have an organized, structured way to reach those kids. So I'm super excited about that. So I'll be working very closely with her. She's going to need to learn how to use STAR. She's going to need to learn how to use the reports. Go MTSS is also a huge tool that I'm still learning how to use. And I call Miss Reyes is on speed dial, so when I need help, so I call her a lot, I call Miss Patty a lot. So we'll be learning how to use that together as well. And that's just a valuable tool and really helpful for reaching those kids who are tier 2 and need that extra intervention. So my role this year basically has been primarily learning the programs and passing that knowledge on as I learn it to help teachers make more informed choices in their classroom. Okay. So this is the fun part. This is what I really enjoy this part, the PBIS. This is where, because with middle school students, you're not just addressing their academic needs. And again, MTSS is not just academic, it's the whole child. It's the social part, the emotional part, the academic part, it's the whole child. And PBIS, we've gotten something called PBIS rewards, which we absolutely love. And that is a way for kids to earn points. Our 3 R's, that's our behavior standard thing that we go by at the school. It's ready, respectful, and responsible. So every time a child is ready, responsible, or respectful, they can get a point. And I had cafeteria duty this year, and let me tell you, when you have PBIS reward points, and you have a little mess somebody left behind, and you ask, well, Johnny, will you please go clean up that mess? I'll give you a point. He will gladly go clean up that mess to get that point. Because what can they do with the points? Well, they use those points to buy things. Teachers have stores, and they have all kinds of stuff. My favorite store in the whole school has to be Mr. Ballard's. Mr. Ballard, if y'all know him, he's a cut up. But the kids, the hot selling item in his store is to be insulted by Mr. Ballard. He will come up and he will insult you, and you have to pay a point for that. Now, he tease you, maybe not insult, but tease. But the kids love it. They will pay points to be teased by Mr. Ballard. So he did say that he would dance with them but they had to pay 1,000 points for that. So nobody made that many points this year. I think he knew that was safe. But the teachers are loving it. The kids love it. It's very motivational. We have kids who have been behavior challenged, and with PBIS rewards, they will work for those points. They want those points. And then what do we do with those points? We have, of course, the teachers have the stores. We also have events that we do. They have to buy their tickets to go to these events with their PBIS reward points. We've done, at Christmas we had a cookie decorating party where the kids had to buy tickets to go do that. We've had dances, they've had to buy tickets for that. Just different things throughout the year. And the kids absolutely love it, and they love that sense of responsibility of being able to pay for their ticket with their PBIS points. And it's nice too, because you always have 100 kids that need pencils or paper or don't have stuff. And with PBIS reward points, they don't have to say, hey, I don't have a pencil, can you give me a pencil? They say, can I buy a pencil? And that gives them that dignity back, so they can be responsible for their stuff. So that's kind of cool too. Another part that I'm in charge of is, and I'm in charge of all that, the database and all of that, as far as making sure all the kids are entered in, the reward points are distributed. I take care of all that behind the scenes. And then we have our house program. You guys may all be familiar with that. We have our 4 houses. We've had that going for a while. The kids get points for their houses through grades, through attendance, through they can buy points actually with their PBIS reward points. 5 points will get you 10 points for your house. And we had a lot of kids taking advantage of that this year. And our winners this year were the Darters. The Darters got to go to Lake Winnie for the house championship prize. So they were very excited about that. So that's just another aspect where we can kind of wrap around our kids where they feel like they belong and they have a place and they're not invisible. Because a lot of times when you get to middle school, that can be a problem, where kids feel like nobody sees them, nobody knows them. So beyond that, let me see. So that's kind of a summary of kind of what I do. I do a lot of other stuff, like I'm sure all the academic coaches, you do a little bit of everything, a lot of different stuff. But so in short, what are we doing to prepare kids for their future? How are we being that bridge for those kids? We're embracing high leverage practices that challenge, engage, and support all of our students. We're using that assessment data to drive all instructional decisions at all tier levels, providing targeted support, providing challenge, adjusting pacing, focusing on the whole and small group instruction for those children based on the data. Again, that sounds like that's elementary. For elementary school teachers, this is elementary. But for us, this is like, wow, okay, we need to do this. And it's been a game changer, and we're getting our teachers to start to see that and start talking that way, using the data. It's like, okay, why do you think this child needs this? Well, based on what? Well, you need to have at least 3 pieces of data. Hard data, not just what you think or what you perceive. It needs to be based on data. So helping students navigate the awkwardness of early adolescence to become responsible, ready to learn, and respectful of others through positive behavior incentives, caring relationships, and knowing that they matter and belong. And that's what we're all about. And then just as a closing example, I'll try to be kind of vague so I don't identify the student. But I had a student this year who came, and we have students come in from other schools all the time. And this is a student who came in from another school. And we didn't have a whole lot of information about the student. But he was getting in trouble every 5 seconds. He was not doing his work. He was not turning in his work. He was being a goofball. And the teachers were about ready to, either they're about ready to lose their cool. So he was just like driving them to distraction. And it's like, okay, so what's going on with this kid? And so we took our first MAP test. And that first MAP test, he was at like the first percentile. And it's like you can't get any lower than that. So come to find out, this child had a severe deficit in reading. He was also struggling with some other physical issues that were causing him to have problems in the classroom. So in short, he may have a little bit of goofball in him still, but there was a lot of other stuff going on that wasn't real. The goofball was covering up all the other stuff. And so I had the opportunity to be able to work with him, and we took him through the RTI process, which again, elementary school, this is basic 101, but for us, this is a new kind of thing. And we took him through that, and thankfully, he went through all the process of the MTSS process, and he is going to be supported next year. He's going to have the supports he needs. So I'm really hoping and praying that he will take advantage of those supports, and that he will be one of those success stories. As ornery as he is, he's got a place in my heart, and he will until he graduates and goes on. But I'm just excited to see that hopefully he'll be the first of many that we'll see that happen. And again, we focus a lot of times on the kids that struggle, but we also have a real desire to reach those kids who are bored and who are not being challenged, because they can kind of go under the radar. And we really want to use data again to identify those kids, to challenge them, to redirect what we're doing so that we can give them the best education possible as well. Any questions or?
Thank you.
Next, we have Susan Reyes, Director of Special Programs, and Deidre Stewart, Parent Mentor, to talk about the outdoor sensory lab.
Thank you. We have students that we're serving who are on the autism spectrum or that just have some intellectual disabilities, other health impairments who they have sensory issues. And when you say sensory issues, those of us in special ed are like, well, how so? What kind? Because there are sensory aversive and sensory seeking. And so we have found that a lot of our students are sensory seeking. So they engage in touching and running and eloping and lots of things that make it hard, to sit down and learn. And so we have in both of our elementary schools, we have sensory rooms. And so we have different equipment in there. We've got swings, so we have a mini trampoline, and we've got a ball pit. They have a canoe in their class at DES. And so we would like to expand that outdoors. outdoors, you can run, rip and romp and be a little bit louder than inside. Just, to give you a little background, like I said, we've got the sensory rooms inside the buildings, but we'd like to put an outdoor sensory room at Dade Elementary. It would support mainly our functional program there, but also, any of our other students who might need to use the facilities. And I'm going to walk up and show you on this map. This is First Street back here. This is the gym. And this is where our functional program is kind of located. They've got a little wing back there. We have a little gate right here. It's got a latch on it. It's to keep our loafers from getting out into the street. And so we know that the school district owns this piece of property right here. And we would like to...
For the health department, you speak.
Yes, sir. I didn't know something like that. But we would like to just fence it in and put in an outdoor sensory area. Seeing it on a map doesn't give it justice about really how big it is. And it's a wonderfully kind of flat piece of ground. And so we would like to come out. We have our fence here already. We'd like to extend the fence out, kind of following the shadow, and because we got some little ones that we're serving, so we don't want them out in the street clearly, or the parking lot. And this is, the jail over here, so we don't want them over there. But to have a fence over here with the gate, and there's a sewer main, which I know you'll be asking about because you know all those questions. But there's a sewer main, and we'd like to come in kind of the water main sewer right there, and fence off a little area. And so the reason that I'm here is we will need the fencing, possibly some concrete. This is gravel, and we do have one student right now in the program who's in a wheelchair, and we anticipate maybe having others as well. We've got some that wear the AFO braces, so they have a harder time walking in the gravel. But we would love to be able to put a gate here. John said we might lose a couple of these parking spots, but there's some extra ones out there, and then have it fenced all the way over here, coming over and then up, and then if we can do that, if you guys will help us with the funds for that. We have some good ideas for things to walk over here, for things to put out there. Lots of sensory input, probably things that you have at your museum. You can see there's different textures, things to walk on, things to pick up and play. This is a music wall, just where you can just make lots of noise, and then like a gardening center. We've got some raised planters out there already. We would love to plant some plants, and the teachers and the kids can harvest those. There are some good STEM opportunities also. They've got the STEM program over there. We'd love to invite some of the general ed students to come out. That's part of the social development, and do those things. Just a little bit on how it could be beneficial. And then that's really what we need. We're asking for fencing with at least one gate. John is going to find out if we have to have a second gate for egress with a push latch on it, and then we would need a walkway.
So we need 2 gates. You're gonna be able to get them over.
What now?
Have to get a lawnmower in there.
I'll let you do that. Yeah.
I have a question so I've seen these in some other districts before, and I've noticed some of them will have like the sunshades, like you have over some of your outdoor playgrounds, that type of thing. It may not be something you want to do right away, but you can make it a real nice area out there. I see the benefit.
We have in our preschool class playground, we have some of the covered areas over there for our students who have sensitivities. One thing that we would like to do is really just get it fenced in, and we have some parents who volunteer to supply back labor and do some of that work. But going forward, I've got a 5-year plan for ordering some very specialized equipment, through IDEA funds, but I can't do any,
Until
ground
this is
prep or
established.
anything. Right, yeah. We just gotta get it established first. The grass is great, we did a walkthrough and it's an amazingly, I wish I had a big enough piece of property to put a house on. It's like a perfect, little lot and, no hills or anything.
Well, fence and 5 yards of concrete is not a huge expense to get started.
And this is primarily for kids in the functional lab? Or is it
It's
inclusive?
easily accessible there, and we've got the 2 teachers in the functional program, but they have lots of visitors, general ed kids. They've got a store. They're doing a lot of working on the social skills and the daily living skills, and so, we don't want to make it exclusive, but it would be primarily for them, and then, to invite other students in.
Do kids in general education classes use the sensory rooms currently, or is it?
We have a few, and we've got, we have our functional program, but the biggest population of students that we serve are the interrelated students. That they have some sensory issues too, and we've got some students who have, Section 504 plans. There's a few visitors that they may be in the MTSS process that the 3 ladies, in before we talked about. So, pretty much you don't have to be in a program to get what you need. It's really all about serving all the students.
Great idea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Sheena Hill, who will give us a NASA lunch update and talk about having a school, or one of our schools being recognized as a school of excellence.
Well, I went ahead and kind of put together a infographic that I had passed out to you guys, just so that y'all would have a copy of what we've done in the last 5 years to make the first NASA Lunch Center of Excellence. All of y'all have been a huge part of this. Bob wanted me to thank each and every one of y'all personally. He was regretful that he couldn't be here tonight. He's in Arkansas at another school trying to finalize some stuff for the end of the school year. But as you all know, we started out with the first industrial 3D printer, which led to the GSBA Lead Manager Award. That opened up the NASA Hunch Partnership and the Bobby Freeman Foundation. Dr. Freeman wanted to start donating because of that on that behalf, which she has continued to do every year, and now her niece is also doing quarterly. I'm saving that money for another grandfather car. We have went into the industrial carbon fiber 3D printer at the high school. We've started the first graphic arts pathway at the middle school and the high school. We've purchased a green power racing car, which we placed first in both races this last weekend, which is awesome, by the way. Tinkercad and MakerBots, that was also funded by the Bobby Freeman Foundation to be able to do the STEAM and STEM labs in the elementary schools. We've now proceeded into the first biomedical pathway at the health science program. Thank you, Jennifer Clark, for that. She's been absolutely wonderful to back that up. Because of that, when they came to visit, when NASA Lunch came to visit, I asked for a $100,000 printer to go into the health science program, and they were on board. They said, okay, you can have it. So we're looking at purchasing that hopefully this summer. NASA Lunch will purchase that for us, and it will be on site in the health science program. The goal for that is to be able to 3D print actual body parts with MRI and CT scans. And because Erlanger is a teaching hospital, Jennifer has some contacts there, so we're hoping that we can partner with them and maybe go into actually 3D printing some body parts. Let's just say, for instance, a pediatric heart for some type of special defect, so the surgeons can actually take a look at the heart before they go under the knife with the child. So we're looking at some major accomplishments there. And we are also the only school that will have that other than Harvard.
That makes us the same.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Just say.
So that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. It's pretty big.
And because of all of this, and we've also got a couple other things coming up this fall, which is going to be soft goods. We're going to open that up into the GNETS program. It's the first collaboration that NASA Hunch has ever done with a program like GNETS. So we're real excited to get those kids out of the classroom and start doing some hands-on projects. I'm also going to try to pitch that to Elon Musk, Twitter. I don't know. I am, but I'm tweeting. So we're definitely going to throw that out there, that we've got some students that are very intricate and that can relate in that area. So bright minds for sure. Culinary too is going to be another project that we are going to participate in for one of the challenges this fall at the high school as well. And that has led us into the first Center of Excellence. NASA Hunch came and they said, y'all are awesome. Y'all are doing everything that we have wanted to accomplish over the years, and they presented Dade County Schools with the NASA Hunch Center of Excellence. So Bob sent a letter over, and this is what he wrote. As the NASA Hunch Southeastern Regional Manager, I would like to personally thank you for your vision and initiating the Sheena Hill Director of Career Technology Innovation as your lead for Dade County Schools NASA Hunch. Because of Sheena's efforts, multiple programs have been piloted and developed to support human space flight. Your contributions are helping NASA meet its requirements and goals of space exploration. This letter is to recognize Dade County Schools in Trenton, Georgia as a valued member of the NASA Hunch team by utilizing Sheena's expertise to oversee multiple NASA Hunch curriculums. These include Flight 3D print for both middle and high school, CAD design, health science biomedical engineering, video and media, graphic arts patch design, elementary student level Tinkercad and 3D print, and the new expansion of commercial sewing and culinary space food curriculums in the fall. It is with honor that I and the entire NASA Hunch team thank you for your contribution and commitment to excellence in support of NASA's mission. Thank you for your hard work and dedication. NASA Hunch is very proud of your accomplishments and congratulates Dade County Schools on becoming the first NASA Hunch Center of Excellence. Who would like to take the award?
You will accept the award?
I got a question about the green power car in Talladega. How many participants? Wow, you'd be.
That class is, here, I'll go ahead and hand it to you.
Thank you.
That class was offered to all 8th graders last year. So they didn't sign up. And we had to do a little bit of recruiting because they were not aware that they were building a race car. They thought, this is another class and we're not really for sure what it is. And so we were like, oh, you'd be really good. You're little, you'd be a good driver, lightweight. We was really trying to pull them in. So we ended up having, I believe, about 20 or 23 in that class this past year. I believe this next coming year when we have sign-ups, we're probably gonna have to try to minimize it. I'm hoping
That's what I was thinking from winning.
Yes,
And,
I expect it to be a little bit more exciting this coming year because now they're aware of what their expectations are. And because of it, the high school's really eager for a car.
How many competitors were at Talladega? Do you know?
25 in that particular group that they raced. And that was custom car, modified cars, and stock cars. And Dade Middle placed 12th out of 24, even on custom and modified cars, which is a big deal. That really is a big deal. The fact that they finished a race in 90 minutes and their batteries were still running, I was amazed. They started out 3 minutes and some odd seconds on their first lap, and they still finished in the 3-minute time frame. Like, their batteries were still pushing strong. I'm so proud of them. It's really a challenge to try to get those cars to run, make sure they're aligned, and to finish 90 minutes on 2 12-volt batteries. It's very challenging.
I knew they were worried about the motor overheating also.
They ended up modifying that and had 2 coolants on it. They had a place that they had 3D printed, it was like a some type of little valve that they put on the side that would catch the air as it would come in, and then it would blow back out on that motor to cool it down. So it was really cool that they did that as well.
And so they figured that out.
Yeah, they sure
They
did.
figured out how to make that work.
Yes,
So
it's a
problem
great, yes, it's a great project, yes.
How big a problem is it? I see a problem with it being just 8th graders every year, because the teacher has to kind of start from scratch
Yeah.
with those 8th graders. What's the potential of us having some 7th graders start out, so that they've got an idea of what's going on when they get to 8th grade? It's not.
Oh, I would love to do that. I would love to.
How hard
open
is
it
that
up.
to do?
That would be a Miss Beeler question.
I didn't
Miss
know
Lisa,
that.
well, I know that y'all are the ones that are over the scheduling, so it would definitely be something that we would have to
Yeah.
reincorporate that in. I could see that being a possibility of maybe doing morning as your engineering design, and then maybe doing afternoon as green power.
Yeah.
You know, and opening that up to 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Kind of like with broadcasting, you've got students that are starting at the, and by the time they get to the other grade, the higher grades,
Yeah.
they've got a good grasp of it, and they're kind of helping mentor some of the others and teach them. I think this could play a similar role. Yeah,
I would love that.
yeah.
I mean, I definitely would. I think that it's, this year it was just kind of like a pilot. You know, we just got the car, we've never built the car
It's
yet.
a great way to start.
So, yes.
It's phenomenal.
So that was, we turned it into like a special 8th grade program, because we knew that our 8th graders would be more amped up. Plus, we had already went through 2 years of design and 3D printing, so I knew that they were prepared to go ahead and start doing that type of project with the car. So that was kind of the thought process when we first went into it. I definitely would love to open it up, because now we're starting over again. So it would have been great to have 2 or 3 7th or 8th grade, or, you know, 7th
Kind
graders
of ready for next year.
to kind of feed into that. And that's what I'm hoping to do at the high school level. Mr. Beeler's already inquired, and it falls straight into his curriculum with robotics, because there's a lot of motor controls with the custom cars. We're just running the stock right now, but that could really feed into that project. And he's super eager to get a race car. It's
How much is it?
$5,000 for a kit, and then they modify that as, you know, however they see fit.
They still print the nose cone and so many other, well, if they want to go fast.
Yeah, we're also the only school at 3D prints in those competitions.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And,
Throwing that out there.
Nice.
the $100,000 printer.
Yes.
Amazing, it's been given. Is filament a part of that gift, or does that have to be purchased separately?
With the partnerships that I have with Stratasys and NASA Hunch, that will be provided. When I called Jesse Rothlenberg at Stratasys, which is the CEO over education, and told him this was our plans, this is what I'd like to do, is this the printer I need to be able to accomplish this? And he said yes. He said, and Sheena, we're so proud of everything that's going on over there in Dade County. When you need material, you let me know.
That's awesome.
And-
One of the expectations though, like if there's another school in the southeast region that needs something printed, they could send us the files, we can print it, and then ship it.
It's great. I mean, it's great for our kids. And the culinary part, can you talk just for 10 seconds about what that is?
So it will fall into the family consumer science classroom, because she is all about food science. And that goes into a project that they started last year, or year before, it's actually 2 different types of competitions. One will be one that they'll have to actually prepare that will go into space. So you can't eat a liquidy food in space, obviously, because it'll float away. So you have to work with the consistencies, and then also the nutrition that goes into it, because of the bone density and that type of thing that the astronauts have a decline in. So that's one of the projects. And then another one is a pre-flight meal. So it will be on Earth, but it's still also providing the nutrition that astronauts need to be able to take flight.
So they develop the menu and the recipes and that
Yeah.
sort of thing for us.
And that's something that the other day when they came, told me just a little bit about the sensory with the,
We started a pilot class with Jennifer Clark in health science last year, and
it started when Bob Zeke came and presented what NASA Hunch was, because we had some teachers that was a little bit reluctant, and they didn't really understand, okay, are we just gonna be, you know, a female? I mean, they didn't want to be a workhorse. They wanted to see what this actually provided for the students, which is completely understandable. And when he finished and showed them all the projects and accomplishments the students had made, Jennifer Clark stands up and she goes, well, I always wanted to be an astronaut, and why is there nowhere for health science? And so that was where it sparked. And he said, well, y'all come up with something. So me and her, we sit down, we started brainstorming, and we came up with mental health. You know, it was during COVID. Mental health was a big thing. It was actually Mental Health Month when we started discussing it. So it fell into creating some type of smell or sensory that astronauts could smell that could bring home back to them. So Christmas, or baked cookies, or maybe their husband's or wife's perfume or cologne. You know, any little thing that they could smell and that memory or that feeling kind of flow back in, because they're up there they're 6 months at a time that they're gone away from home. So that's a long time to not have, you know, family. So that was the initial thought process of it. It actually ended up being the tin cans that y'all saw. That was the winner. And so we're going to push through and try to actually attempt to send those up in space this next coming year. But because of that partnership and because of that pathway that we developed here, they're going to use that now, and they even have a director at NASA Hunch that will now oversee biomedical science, and they're going to open it up to all schools this fall.
You know, if they just let Jennifer take you up to them, it'd be great.
Oh, I know. Yes, yes.
Checking boxes.
And she so would.
Thank you very much.
Do y'all have any more questions?
It's good.
All right, thank you.
And the final presenter under department reports is Miss Laura Cunningham, Dade County 4-H Extension Educator for the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences.
How are you guys? I'm sorry that it's taken me so long to come and present, but it's kind of been a whirlwind for me. I've moved back from campus. My husband is still there. He's finally going to move this next weekend. So we have been apart for 7 whole months. So it's just been a lot of traveling back and forth and trying to, keep the family life going. So I'm so sorry that it's taken me so long. But I am Laura Beth Cunningham. Some of you would have known me as Beth Gass because I recognize all of you. And I want to present to you guys tonight about how 4-H supports the school curriculum in all grade levels, and hopefully be able to gain your support for the programs that I'd like to offer and teach in all of our schools. So the big thing that we really like to push, and something that's really dear to my heart, is district project achievement. So it empowers young people with skills for a lifetime. I have a really hard time talking in front of big crowds. And if my mother had not forced me to do this from 4th grade until I went through high school, I wouldn't be able to stand up here and talk. And it's still hard for me, and I have spoken in front of a lot of people. But project achievement is something where the kids can pick any topic they want. There is a category for everything. They can pick their favorite character in a movie and talk about it. They can pick their favorite video game and talk about it. I had kids this last time, Liam from the middle school, who wanted to talk about blight and chestnut trees. I had no idea what that was, but this kid knew all about it. And he just presented this, and he won first at BPA, and it was just they can do anything they want. His little sister, or his twin sister, talked about mushrooms. So, you can do anything. So they have to pick a topic, conduct some research, form a little, when we do it in the school, we just do a 3 to 5 minute little speech. It really checks off a lot of ELA standards. There is a sample rubrics in the package that I gave you guys, and while I'm going through all of this with them, the teachers can just sit right there and check it off. and it can be really, really helpful in the school system. So they also, when they're younger, they use like poster cards, so they have that visual aid going and they talk with it. And then when you get a little older, they can use PowerPoints and things like that. So that's something that's really, really dear to me, and I would really like to do that in almost all of the grade levels. But communication is the backbone of our society. It allows us to form connections, influence decisions, and motivate change. So public speaking is really important from a very young child into adult. And while some students do take to it naturally, like Liam does, his sister would be the majority where she was very fearful and had a hard time talking in front of the crowd. So public speaking helps progress students with improved academic performance and communication skills. It increases their self-esteem and improves their listening skills, and it helps them to gain the power of persuasion by voicing their opinions. So in general, learning to public speak is just something that every kid needs. So the 4-H curriculum covers a lot of lessons. And it's very interesting to me, because I didn't realize this when my mother was doing it, that there are standards in each grade, and they're all different. So I think 5th grade is really into inherited traits, and then there's plant classification. So the 4-H program has incorporated all of this into all these different curriculums. So I would really like to be able to sit down with all of the teachers, see what they need, and then pull our curriculum in. And the reason that I think it would be good is because we're talking about all this standardized testing. So if I can give the child a different look, and then they have what the teacher's teaching them to, there might be something that, they see a question on the milestone test and it just might click and they just might remember something. Like if I, put a different spin on it, they might remember that, or things like that. Another really good one we do is called Less Stress on the Test. And I would like to teach that, prior to the milestone test. And it really teaches them the emotions that they're feeling and that stress, and there's coping mechanisms for it to really help them push through that. And then, of course, we always have agriculture when it comes to 4-H. So we have a Farm to Fork lesson, and it talks about agriculture, finance, all the new technologies that are used in farming now, and it's really interesting too. So, as everyone knows, once you get your students into high school, it can be really hard to get a connection with them. And UGA has been trying to figure this out for years. So they have this new curriculum that's called Adulting 101, and I think it might actually be good. Like, remembering back, I might have actually been interested in this one too. So, Adulting 101 is something that I can, teach during their club periods, or we can do an after-school thing. But it's like a year-long program preparing them to go to college. So there's a whole lesson where I can teach them how to make all kinds of food in the microwave, like burritos and those little cupcakes and things like that. That's one of the lessons. I could be able to bring in, like the Dalton State person to talk about the whole process of actually applying to schools, and get them prepared for that. There's this, it's called Budget Town Simulation, and we played this at Rock Eagle like 3 weekends ago. And it's really fun. So you spin a wheel, it gives you a set amount of money, and that's the money that you have for the month. So you have to feed yourself, you have to entertain yourself, and everybody has a pet. So you spin the wheel each time to figure out what you're going to get. So one of the things on there is a horse. Well, nobody can afford to feed a horse. So it's really interesting to watch everybody try to figure out how they can afford everything. So if they're feeding a horse, well, then they're only eating ramen noodles and popcorn. And it's funny for them and they're like, oh, well, our friends are going to this. Well, will we be able to go? And one of them was transportation. So can you afford a bicycle, or are you going to use a skateboard? But it's really interesting to see how their minds try to make the budget to be able to do what they want to do. Another thing that I had no idea about is the 4-H centers offer during the school year a whole environmental education field trip. It's just like going to school. They go to one of our 4-H centers. We have 5 different ones. They can stay one night, they can stay 3 nights. But the price per kid ranges from $130 to $150. So it's very reasonable. And I've talked to Miss Bueller about this already, and I'm presenting to her teachers on Wednesday, because she's pretty on board with this. She has seen other school systems that were doing it. And it's like going to school for 8 hours. So the kids get up, they go have breakfast, they go to all these different classes. We'll just take Rock Eagle for example. At Rock Eagle, they talk about the trees and the wildlife. It's in a very wooded area. I think the best one would be to go to would be Jekyll down in South Georgia on the coast. It's on the beach. That one, they talk about all the fish that are there, all the different ecosystems and environments. They sing songs that pertain to what they're learning. They have bonfires at night. They go on hikes. And every 4-H center also has an on-site museum that they would go through and learn about everything. And it's also fun for the teachers because all the 4-H centers are highly staffed. So they take care of your kids and they just kind of sit back and have a good time. So I'm really hoping that I can definitely get Miss Bueller interested in this, because she said that if it's something that we talk about early in the year, then the parents can make payments on it, and then most kids will be able to go. And there is a packet in there.
How many students do they take?
As many as you want to bring.
I actually took kids for 3 years, 25 years ago, to Dade.
Yes.
For the Marine
Dade is
College,
really good too.
And it is definitely highly academic.
Mm-hmm. They can house,
That's great.
Rock Eagle can house over 600 kids.
We took every 6th grade.
Mm-hmm. And it is very affordable. I mean, if you go and you stay there for 3 full nights, it's $150. And they get 3 meals, 2 snacks. They have to bring a sleeping bag, but they sleep in, the rooms are very nice. It's
And
like,
has Rock Eagle redone all, I know,
yes,
last time I stayed there, some of them were still from the old military barracks type.
yes,
And some of them were new, but.
they're all new and they're all very nice. I don't
Nice.
even mind staying there.
Yeah, they were nice.
Dade Middle School has done this for quite a few years in the past. They have done it, and several times.
Well, I hope I can bring it back and get them interested in it again, because I think it's a really good, affordable opportunity. And I have learned during this whole getting kids to go to camp, that some kids don't get to go do anything. And this is something that they could go and do. And I really hope that that's something we can get going again. So 4-H also offers judging teams. I know Daniel probably did a couple of these, but 4-Hers in various age groups have the opportunity to learn about specific topics and issues in agriculture and family and consumer sciences. I have to go and get certified in each of these different things, so it is a lot more professional than it used to be, where you could just, start teaching anything you want. But the judging teams also bring in the public speaking aspect, because you always have to give oral reasoning on one of the stations that you go to. So if we're talking about poultry judging, so you have your chickens up there that you're judging, and then you go to a judge and you tell that judge why you placed them that way, and you have to, have very good reasoning skills and be able to back up what you're telling them. And each one of them always has that. So we offer forestry judging, which will start this summer, and then Sarah, our A&R agent, is going to have a livestock judging team, and then I'll also have a poultry judging and consumer judging team. And consumer judging, it used to be called Cotton Bowl, but it's more of a life skill type thing. One of the things that they would have 5 sweaters laid out, and then they'll have a scenario. Well, Susie needs this type of sweater for this type of event, and this is her budget. And then they would have to pick out the better one. We have plenty of summer camps, and these are always great because it helps keeps our kids out of trouble during the summer instead of running around Trenton being bad. I usually start promoting this in April, and then kids are we're going to go to Cloverleaf Camp the second week of June. I worked really hard when I first got here because I remember that this is something that lots of kids don't get to do. So I actually worked with Martha Baker, and we found 4 kids to send to camp this year on a Cool Ride Scholarship. And they came from the DFACS program. So my criteria is that I have to pick a new audience every year. So we're finagling ways to, so we did DFACS this year. We'll do Housing Authority next year. And hopefully, since we were able to fill these 4 spots, then they'll award us more. But basically, they get to go to camp for free. And then Martha and I also went in together and bought all the toiletries that they would need and the bedding and things like that. So when they go to camp, we're not going to be any different than the other kids. So that's something that I hope to build on every year as well. So the kids that don't have those opportunities get those. And we are ramping up our summer programs. We're going to have lots of field trips. I'm going to take kids to the fishery in Calheta. We're going to go to the Tella Science Museum. And we are going to go on quite a few hikes. And then we have a Chick to Chicken project. So every year we do a Chick to Chicken where the kids, they purchase 10 chickens, 10 chicks, and then they have to grow them into a laying hen, and then we have a competition. But it's just fun to have chicks around. So we get a really big participation with that. And then I applied for a grant with the Soil and Water Conservation, and they supplied us with money to where we're going to be able to buy a little greenhouse and things like that. So I'm going to have a gardening class and that kind of stuff. So I did a lot of grant writing in college, so I'm really hoping to be able to get more funding for us so we can, build on those things. But that's all I have.
So the summer programming, will that be an individual registration? I mean, parents would see this and register their kids?
Yes, ma'am. So we post everything on Facebook. Because social media is the way to go, and it's cheaper for us to do. We didn't put those particular summer programs in the paper, but a lot of our programs we do put in the newspaper. Yes, but it's on our Facebook, and we have some listservs that we just kind of bulk send stuff out to our parents.
Great opportunities.
Thank you.
And that concludes everything under the superintendent.
We'll move to the consent agenda discussion, and the first one is the Unify Network deposits.
Yes, I recommend the board approve the Intrafy Network Deposits Agreement with the Intrafy Network and the Bank of Dade, and we feel like it would best to start with SPLOST 6. We can't spend SPLOST 6 funds until SPLOST 5 funds are spent. So essentially what this does is any accounts that we have at the Bank of Dade that are over $250,000, they pledge securities, and our interest rate is 0.15%. Going with this Intrafy Network Deposits group, it would take $250,000 and spread it out to a lot of different banks, and the interest rate would be 0.30. So it doubles our interest rate. And couple, one of the most common questions is, how liquid is the funding? It's within 24 hours. If it posts before 2:30 on one business day, you have access to your funds the next business day. This was some local legislations that was passed in the state legislature a couple years ago. And the purpose of it is to allow small community banks to work with governmental municipalities, keep funds local. So Corey has reviewed the agreement, and he has blessed the agreement.
You said it's worth it.
Up to 250,000. So, they would stop at 200. You go to one bank, put 250,000 in, and after that, they spread it out. So, the Intrafied Network group is essentially the third party that's managing that portfolio. And all of these different banks are backed by the federal.
And it's all through Bank of Dade.
The Bank of Dade is kind of our hometown manager. So we don't contact Intrafi Network. They contact Intrafi Network for us.
For anything over 250.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't ever, for instance, if you put in 2 million, then they're gonna use 8 different banks or more to get it always under that FDIC, 250,000 max. So, it's totally insured.
30% is a big thing.
Are there any other questions on that? Okay, if not, next is the monthly financial general fund report.
All right, I will be presenting the monthly financials and general fund report as Ms. Paula and Ms. Lauren have been in training all day today at RESA. So the monthly financial general fund ending balance is $6,177,341.63. Our general fund revenues are at 91.28%, and our general fund expenditures are at 86.52%. Our monthly financial splits in general fund is we are 83.33% of the fiscal year complete. Our current construction in process report, we've made 7 payments, and the remaining contract balance is in the amount of $486,024.92. The March grants report, out of 22 grants, we have expended approximately 77% of those funds. Our SPLOST 5 ending balance is $2,926,524.56. Our SPLOST 6 ending balance is $846,477.07, leaving both of those accounts combined at $3,773,001.63.
That doesn't sound like a fun class to be in, I'm just saying. Every second. Bless their hearts.
Okay, are there any questions on that? All right, next we're moving on to the 23 tentative budget.
All right, you have before you the FY23 tentative budget. So it is my recommendation the board adopt this tentative budget so that we can begin our budget hearing process. And we will have 2 different hearings. And then at our June board meeting, the goal will be to recommend our FY23 operating budget.
Any questions on that? governance annual training report.
I recommend the board approve the local board governance annual training report for final submission to the Georgia Department of Education for the FY '22 school year. All board members have completed a self-assessment.
Any questions on that? All right, next is approval removal of board policy JBCB and update JBC.
We laid this policy on the table last month, so I recommend the board approve changes to board policy JBC and the removal of policy JBCB. And essentially, JBCB will become the procedure that makes JBC work.
Any questions on that one? All right, real estate property exchange.
I recommend the board approve the real estate property exchange between Dade County Schools and the Dade County Board of Commissioners. And this will settle the property here on this campus and the North Dade property.
Any questions on that? Okay. Next is change order for the EMS project.
I recommend the board approve change order number 3 for Dade Middle School from PNC Construction Incorporated. The financial impact is $28,917.18, and this does include the addition of a new drain that was not on the original drawings.
Any questions about that? All right, the next one is amended purchase of vehicle.
In February of 2022, the Board of Education voted to purchase a van, and after waiting several weeks for the van to be delivered, we were told that the van had been sold unannounced by the dealer. Therefore, we did not get to purchase the van that was approved. Amy continued a search, and after searching, along with this ever-changing market, we found another van. So I recommend the board approve the purchase of the van for Dade County Schools from Allen Vigil Ford, which is part of the state bid contract list, and it also includes delivery. The total price was $30,552.
They need to deliver this one faster so nobody can sell it.
Did you see it?
That's fast enough.
It's fast enough.
Was it a local dealer?
No.
I mean, that sold it out.
No. Metro Atlanta area, both of them.
Just checking.
Okay, are there any more questions on that one? Okay, next is garbage bids.
I recommend the board approve the public services for the district's garbage service for FY '23. The garbage service bid, we only had one vendor that submitted a bid for public services in the amount of $3,121.62, and that does include recycling. Last year's garbage service bid, we only had one bidder, and again, it was for public services, and it was in the amount of $2,974, and it also included recycling. Amy sends invitations when bids are placed on the district, and it's included in the newspaper and the district website. Republic bought Santec Waste Services, the other company that has bid with us in the past. So some companies, we don't, it's hard to attract other vendors.
Any questions on that one? The MOU with Georgia Hope.
I recommend the board approve the memorandum of understanding with Georgia Hope. Georgia Hope provides counseling services to students that are referred by the school system. This is just a continuation, but Georgia Hope is one of the one of the partners that we use. We also use Lookout Mountain Community Services.
Somebody have any questions on that one? Okay, next is surplus property. I'm sorry, so, agreement with Tennessee Behavioral Therapy.
I recommend the board approve the agreement with Tennessee Behavioral Therapy. They provide services for our students, and some of those services are consultation, classroom management, professional learning, IEP development, student-specific staff professional development, consultation reports, professional liability insurance. And this would be funded through IDEA.
Any questions on that one? Okay, next is surplus property.
I recommend the board approve the surplus of the Jacobson LF 2400 Kubota diesel reel mower. It has it's a 5-gang reel with over 100-inch cut. You see the serial number, and it is a 2006 model, and we would place that on your approval of this surplus. We will place it on good deals.
This is the one we replaced, or we
John Deere.
replaced with John Deere last year.
Any more questions on that one? Okay, that ends the consent agenda discussion. Next we move to public input. Is there any public input? Okay, there's no public input, so we move to consent agenda consideration. So do I hear a motion to approve items 1 through 12 on the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve 1 through 12.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, next is executive session for personnel and property. Do I hear a motion for executive session?
Make a motion.
Second.